Hello, hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Rochelle J. Let's do a quick check on the tropics. It is June 28th, 2024, and we now have our second tropical depression out in the Atlantic Ocean, named Tropical Depression 2. So we're keeping an eye on that to become Tropical Storm Beryl and then likely Hurricane Beryl as we go through the next few days heading into the beginning of July. So here's a look at the Hurricane Center main page. So we have Tropical Depression 2 here, and then we have another area, Invest 94L, off to the west, just to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula off the coast of Belize and other areas of Central America. And then we have a third region to watch, which in the next 7 days has a 40% chance of tropical development. Here's a look at let's loop this, shall we? Here's a look at the satellite imagery. You can see TD2 right toward the middle bottom part of that loop as it nears closer to South America. And then we also have this over here. All of this is Invest 94L. And then we have another cluster of storms here. And that's that third area that I was mentioning just a second ago. So, another thing I want to look at is the Saharan air layer, or where is that dust coming off of the western coast of Africa? Anywhere you're seeing yellows, pinks, and such like that, that's where we have some of that dust, some of that drier air, which tropical systems don't particularly like. It does work against tropical system strengthening, and you do see a good deal of that as we look just off to the north of TD2, and then that third area which has more recently come off that western coast of Africa. But when we look back here into this area, not so much in the way of dry air kind of impeding any development for that storm. But again, it does have now a medium chance of developing as we look toward the next few days. But the big factor here, I think, one of the big factors at least, is going to be those sea surface temperatures for Tropical Depression 2 to form over the next couple of days. We've got sea surface temperatures that are running weeks ahead of normal. We're looking at those sea surface temperatures. Check this out, mid 80s. And as we go little north of Trinidad and Tobago, mid 80s, and even into the Caribbean Sea, still sitting in the mid 80s. You only really need those water temperatures in the low 80s, right around 80 degrees, to foster tropical development. And we have that plus some out in the Atlantic. So here's another look at the tropics. You can see I've got the mid-level water vapor, so going a little higher up in the atmosphere. And you do see we still have north of TD2 in that third system, some dry air in the mid levels of the atmosphere. So we've got some of that not too far off from what will likely become our second tropical storm and probably first hurricane of the season. Here's a closer look at that. Let me scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, can't scroll down anymore. So this is tropical depression too. You see it's really kind of taking more of that shape of a tropical system that you might expect. We've got that more circular look to it versus that disorganized look that we've had over the last couple of days. And also some pretty high cloud tops with that and some lightning being detected as well. So here is a look from the National Hurricane Center going back to their page. We'll take a look at their forecasted track and all of that. Tropical storm force wind probabilities going out to 2 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. You can see pretty high likelihood through some of these islands we're looking at. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also down towards Grenada, and a higher chance for Tobago, the island of Tobago, versus the island of Trinidad. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago, one nation, two different islands. So they've got a pretty high chance north of Trinidad and Tobago as we're looking from St. Lucia to about Grenada. We've got over that 50% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds in some capacity as we look between Friday afternoon and Wednesday, July 3rd, early in the afternoon. Just as a reminder, we do have mensajes claves or key messages in Spanish available on the National Hurricane Center website. And I believe there are some other products available. So if someone you know maybe wants that or is interested in getting those updates in Spanish, they do have that available for you as well. So here is the track for Tropical Depression 2. We're expecting it to become that tropical storm as we look toward maybe the morning hours. It's not too far off on Friday evening when I'm recording this. So we do have that potential as we look towards Saturday, definitely becoming a tropical storm at some point on Saturday, likely earlier than not. And then here's 2 p.m. on Sunday, becoming the first hurricane of the season and staying as a hurricane, possibly strengthening as we go later on Sunday and into the day on Monday as it passes these islands. Again, the center of the storm is what's being plotted here, and we're looking at areas where the center could move between about St. Lucia and Grenada, staying a hurricane as we go into the Caribbean Sea, and then starting to move, curve just a little bit more to the northwest versus more so of that westerly component toward the middle of the first week of July. Just wanted to zoom in, showing you this interactive map that's available so you can see, you can zoom in just a bit. This is showing where the center of the storm could be, doesn't show full impacts of what will become tropical storm and eventually Hurricane Beryl. So it just shows you where we could see the center of that storm moving over. So you see Martinique here. We've got St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and then also Barbados is included in that cone, and Tobago is included in the cone. But likely we'll see some impacts for Martinique heading up towards areas like Dominica, down towards Trinidad, and some northern areas of South America as well. What's interesting about this is just how well the models are agreeing on a general direction of where this storm could move over the next couple of days. You see these two up toward the top. Those lines, those are all different model outputs. So we're seeing those generally moving to the west northwest and then taking somewhat of a curve. But as we get farther out in time, it starts to get a little bit more uncertain. We have a little bit more spread between those models as to where Tropical Depression 2 could move. So let's take you to Invest 94L off of the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula and some of those areas like Belize and Honduras and Guatemala. We're keeping an eye on that. Very disorganized at this point. Can't scroll down anymore. See if I can adjust this so we can. All right, that's not working. But you can see we've got a cluster of storms all over the place here. We've got some high cloud tops. We have some not so high cloud tops. And we also have some lightning being detected with this storm as well. As far as where this could go, looks like it's gonna hang out, move over the Yucatan, and then possibly move over some very similar areas to where we had a couple of storms already move into eastern Mexico earlier this month, dropping quite a bit of rain they don't need. And as far as how much rain could we be talking from this storm, 94L, right now we've got projections of 6 to 12 plus inches in areas of eastern Mexico. And then when we're looking, this is the GFS model going through Tuesday evening. So we've got some rainfall, up to 6 inches is possible where the center of the storm could go. And then we've got some lower rain totals as we head farther away from that projected center of the storm. As far as another model, still putting quite a bit of rain in eastern Mexico from 94L. So regardless of if it becomes a tropical depression, tropical storm, we're still looking at heavy rain from this system in eastern Mexico and some other areas of Central America. And then for Tropical Depression 2, it doesn't have quite as much rain. The European does have it as a weaker system versus the GFS. In some cases, I've seen it by quite a lot, much weaker versus the GFS, but still, we do have the potential for some strong winds and some rain with that storm. Now, what's interesting, I don't think I've ever noticed this, but from the National Hurricane Center, from the Weather Prediction Center, I should say, says it right there. They do have rainfall forecast in both inches and millimeters available on their website for those areas of the Caribbean where we could see this storm move over. So 4 to 6 inches looks like a good bet in some of those areas, maybe slightly higher. It'll depend how strong the storm is and where exactly it does move as far as the center goes. So this may change over the next day or two. So keep checking back for more information as to where that system could go exactly. This area right here where we've got this kind of crisscross situation happening. This is showing where they have lower confidence up here at the top. So you can see they just have a lower confidence as to how much rain could fall. Now, thankfully, that area where we have that slightly higher 8 to 12 inches or 200 to 300 millimeters is off of land. But again, depending on how strong the storm is, this could change, this could tweak. We could see some of those higher forecasted totals moving over land. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested, you can follow me on social media, subscribe to me on YouTube. Doing this a little bit different might sound a little different because I'm actually recording this at work in between newscasts, but I still hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you know someone or you are in the line of any of these storms or any storms in general, make sure you are staying safe, making sure that folks know what's going on, giving them a heads up. So stay safe with that. And if you're not in the areas with storms on the way, and even if you are, I hope that you do have a good weekend ahead.